Oh, that's my friend Curious George. He's here this morning to listen to our story. Welcome to our Preschool Story Time. My name is Nancy Valdivia. I'm one of the children's librarians here for Palm Springs Public Library, and I would like to share with you a story called Curious George Visits the Library, and it's written by Margaret and H.A. Race, and we read this book to you with permissions by Houghton Mifflin Harcourt, and we thank them for that. So here is our little monkey, our little curious monkey, George, in the stacks at the library. This is George. He was a good little monkey and always very curious. Today, George and his friend, the man with the yellow hat, were at the library. There they are. And as you notice in the sign, it's story time at the library. George had never been to the library before. He had never seen so many books before either. Everywhere he looked, people were reading. Some people read quietly to themselves. But in the children's room, the librarian was reading out loud. And it says here, Story Hour. It was story hour. George loves stories. He sat down with a group of children to listen. The librarian was reading a book about a bunny. George liked bunnies. Do you like bunnies too, boys and girls? Behind the librarian was a book about a dinosaur. Oh, can you spy that book right there? George liked dinosaurs even more. He hoped she would read it next. But next, the librarian read a book about a train. Choo, 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 choo. And George tried to sit quietly and wait for the dinosaur book to be read. But sometimes it's hard for a little monkey to be patient. Ooh, 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 ooh. Ah, 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 ah. Ee, 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 ee. Ooh, 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 ah, ah. Oh, George. He's trying. When the librarian started a story about jungle animals, well, George could not wait any longer. He had to see the dinosaur book. Ooh, do you see him there, boys and girls? He tiptoed closer. Look, a monkey, shouted a girl. The librarian put her finger to her lips. We must be quiet so everyone can hear, she said quite nicely. But there's a monkey, said a boy. The librarian nodded and smiled. Mm-hmm, she agreed. Uh-oh, he just took that book, didn't he? When she finished reading the jungle story, the librarian reached for the dinosaur book. Where did it go? And where was George? Boys and girls, can you spy George? Where did he go? What? You're right, he left. George was all ready to take the dinosaur book home and read it with his friend when another book caught his eye. Oh, this book was about trucks. George wanted to take it home too. And here was a book about elephants. And George loved elephants. He added it to his pile. Wow. Trucks, elephants, dinosaurs. Wow, what great stories. George found so many good books. He soon had more than he could carry. He leaned against a shelf to rest. Went the shelf. Shh, said a man. Squeak, went the shelf again, and it moved. Why, it wasn't really a shelf after all. George had found a special cart for carrying books. Do you know what color that cart is? Do you know what color? What color? Very good. Yes, yellow. Good. All right. What luck! Now George could carry all the books he wanted. He rolled the cart between the shelves and stacked up books about boats and kites and baking cakes. He climbed higher to reach books about cranes and planes. Who else is watching George as he picks out books? Can you see who they are? Yes, you got it. There's a little girl. At last, George had all the books he could handle. He couldn't wait to head home and start reading. And right in front of him was a ramp leading to the door. George was curious. Could he roll the cart all the way home? Down the ramp George went. The cart rolled faster and faster. Eee! Stop! A library volunteer shouted. Come back here with my cart! But George was too excited to listen. The cart was picking up speed and George was having fun. Ooh, 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 ah, 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 ee, 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 ooh, 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 ah, 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 ah. Until crash! George and the cart ran smack into a shelf of encyclopedias. Oh, books flew up in the air, and so did George, and he landed in a big pile right between O and P. Oh my goodness, there he is. What a mess. Oh no, moaned the volunteer when he saw the mess George had made. How am I going to put away all these books? I'd like to borrow this one, said a boy from Story Hour. And I'll take this one, said a girl. With help from George and the children, the books were sorted in no time. Soon there was just a small pile of George's favorites left. Do you remember his favorites? Do you remember what they were about? Planes, very good. Yes, dinosaurs. Elephants, good memory. Good memory. Would you like to take these books home with you? The volunteer asked George. Then he took George to a special desk and helped him get his very own library card. George was holding his brand new card when his friend arrived with a stack of books of his own. There you are, George, he said. I see you're all ready to check out. George and his friend gave their books to the librarian, and she smiled when she saw George's pile. I was wondering where this dinosaur book went, she said. It's one of my favorites, too. The librarian stamped the books and handed them back to George. With his books under one arm, George waved goodbye to the volunteer, the librarian, and the children from the Story Hour. Come see us again, George, the librarian said, waving back. Enjoy your books. And he did. The end. And as you can see here, he's reading that dinosaur book. That's the end of our story. I hope you enjoyed that story. Curious George, Visit the Library. And this book is a bilingual book, so it's also available in Spanish. All right, just a reminder again that September is Library Card Sign-Up Month. And remember, our chairperson is Wonder Woman. So stop by the library and come see us. Let's do a little song. Are you ready? Since we had a story about a monkey, Curious George, why don't we do 3 little monkeys jumping on the bed? So I have my first monkey. Would you like to see who he is? There you go. And then we have our second monkey. And then we have our little baby monkey. So we have 3 monkeys. 1, 2, 3. Number 3. And they'll be jumping on the bed. And then they'll fall off. You know, one falls off and bumps his head. And Mama calls the doctor. And the doctor says, no more monkeys jumping on the bed. You ready? Let's do this. Ready? There we go. 3 little monkeys jumping on the bed. One fell off, ooh, and bumped his head. And Mama called the doctor, and the doctor said, no more monkeys jumping on the bed. Ooh, oh. 2 little monkeys jumping on the bed. Ooh, one fell off and bumped his head. Ooh, ooh. Mama called the doctor, and the doctor said, no more monkeys jumping on the bed. 1 little monkey, ooh, ooh, jumping on the bed. Ooh. This little monkey fell off, boing, and bumped his head. And Mama called the doctor, and the doctor said, no more monkeys jumping on the bed. Oh, is that the end of the song? No, it's not, because Papa Monkey jumping on the bed. Jumping so high, he fell off and bumped his head. Mama called the doctor, and the doctor said, Papa Monkey, no more jumping on the bed. We'll see you next week. Goodbye now.